whenever will be available. Good morning, man. Uh, what's going on, Coach? Uh, so you'll be able to call in. Um, I'd like to talk about.
Fire 716 Radio. From old school to new school. From rock to the church. From praise and worship to a twerk session. It's Fire 716 Radio. Playing the best in urban and inspirational music.
You locked into the vault on Fire 716 Radio with Dante Miles. Let's go.
Yes, sirs. Listen, we're back. Thank you guys for joining in, tuning in with us today. We got some pretty interesting subject matters. I've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of emails, um, as per uh, something that pretty much has been an issue, pretty much with me. Well, not with me, about me per se, but to me, an issue that we've been having in our city for a while, and that's been a lack of transparency.
Oh, for sure.
But one in particular that we're talking about today is our housing market, our housing stock being sold silently. We have, you know, I am heavy, super heavy on home ownership.
Yeah.
I believe that, those of us who live here should, of course, we want to educate people on how to maintain housing. Um, However, we have to make it available.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been spending so much time, so much money, so much of our city resources on things that are nonsensical and things that have not really, really moved our city forward. And we get comfortable selling all of our housing stock to um, investors,
Yeah.
and especially our city housing. Uh, when it comes down to our investors that we pretty much give our housing to at bargain basement rates. Um, every home that they buy, investor services and all of these other different ones. The new one is the guy Rod Davis and his company or whatever the case is, and that's what I've been getting the calls about in the texts and emails. Um, every piece of property that we sell to these people is a house that's not going to be owned by a resident.
Mm-hmm.
It's a property that we're going to use, and most of it nowadays, of course, is the short-term rental situation.
Right.
So I I am a firm believer that those who have home that are homeowners are more likely to one take care of their property because it's theirs. It's something that they own. They can take pride
Right.
in it,
Right.
and I think the thing is that we have to kind of readjust that type of culture
No,
in
for
the city
sure.
of Niagara
For sure.
Falls. Um, so yeah, anybody. It's more so. It's kind of like somewhat of an open forum today. But I think one of the things that we do need to address and talk about is our home ownership
Yeah.
in the city of Niagara Falls.
Because it's not. It's. And it's funny you said that because it's not discussed. Um, I remember, like, growing up here, your parents they had a goal.
Right.
Grandparents, we own this house, we got a mortgage, 30 years, yada yada. But that was just like is not a part of our discussion, if you will, now like it used to be back then. But yet we're paying crazy boohoo dollars to rent out these houses that are not updated, that are not current,
Right.
and it's crazy too. That's like, and I'll be transparent today.
Absolutely.
Is that my wife and I, we ready to buy a home? We want to buy a home now,
Right. Right.
but because we weren't taught
Right.
what needs to be in place, how we need to do things. We made some bad. I'm snitching, babe. I'm sorry. We made some bad decisions in our younger years that now affect us now. It's like, dag, okay.
Absolutely.
Now, how do I go about getting a home?
Right.
But my credit is
Credit.
all. Nobody taught me credit.
Right.
You
right.
know, Frank pay bills. Nobody taught me. I was just trying to survive today.
Right.
Nobody taught me the weight of credit. Now it's like, okay, now we got to fix things now.
Right. Right.
Before we can even
Kind
go
of
and
catch up.
catch up. Exactly. And but it's a dialogue, a conversation that needs to be present. Because how many people are paying? We don't qualify for rent for a mortgage,
But
but
you
we
paying rent
rent
that is almost double how much your mortgage would be.
at max. And I think that's like, it's unfortunate. So I have enough income to barely make it.
Right.
But if I was to invest long term into this, I can come out better. But you won't approve
You
me.
want to prove.
Yeah, and I think that I might even get some people on here to, I'm trying to do a real estate show,
Right.
even just to have that dialogue. Because we need, how can I fix this? What do I need to do? And how can I get first I can get access to it, then Niagara Falls, how can I get it?
Right. Right. Right.
That's another red
Right.
flags and tables and stuff.
That's actually a true thing too as well. That's Jill. You're right on point. But that's something I want to talk about too. All right. So here's the thing, because that's what's been happening, and I have said this before when they put that zone out. That's one of the things that was probably one of the worst thing they did, and I fought against it. And I still hold my stance. I don't care how anybody else feels about it because, and my gut feeling was correct. I told them when they first started doing, when the mayor and everybody started doing this STR short term rentals. For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
zoning and zoning locking everybody out of this lucrative business.
Right.
Um, then I told them if you zone it in this one area, you're not paying attention to what's going to happen. You're going to prematurely gentrify our city,
Yeah.
and those who are in these spaces don't have that much of don't have good alternatives.
Right. Right.
And I made that clear. That's when I was working for Pinnacle, and I was working with homeless youth,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a chance to see homeless on a straightforward level. Let me just say this before you guys go in, because I see a lot of questions. I'm definitely going to get to your questions, and if you want to call in, that number is pinned at the bottom of the page. It's 716-299-0013. So I fought super hard against it because I knew what was going to happen. I knew people were going to either not renew people's leases. I knew
Yeah.
people were going to spike up their rent, triple the rent that they were charging people just so they can get them priced out of the home
Mhm.
so they can turn their homes into this Airbnb. Because like I said, if you have Airbnb able to be throughout the whole city, but then all of a sudden you take what used to be something that was available for the entire city and put it in one corner of the city.
Yeah.
Now all the people who own these properties, they're like, we have the monopoly on short-term rentals and Airbnbs and bread and breakfast. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise our rent,
Raise up. Yeah.
raise the rent, or I'm kicking you out. I'm not gonna renew your lease. I'm gonna find a reason to kick you out. You know what I mean? You park, 6 inches closer to the curb than you should have. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
And they'll find a way to get and literally once the moratorium was lifted, I promise you, I had many calls within months of people who basically was like, yo, they're kicking me out
Yeah.
because they want to turn their house into an Airbnb. And see, decisions like this doesn't put the people first.
No, no. And unfortunately, this is a constant pattern
Yeah.
that is for a select few and not for all.
Right.
It's
Right.
is as you say, what I've been using lately too, the have and have
The
not.
have and have nots.
And it's like, why? Just
Watch this. I even go as far as to say this much, because it's people that have, but because they're not in cahoots or in the
Yeah.
clique
yeah,
of these decision makers, the powers that be, um, it don't matter for them either.
yeah,
Because there's an investor, a couple of investors that's on here now that does well with their properties,
mm-hmm.
but they pretty much got the crappy end of the stick as well,
Wow.
because they're not in that connection.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So for me, you know, there's a portions of the have and the have nots, and then there's a portions of the good old boys club, the gang. I'm a
Yeah.
part of the crew. You know what I mean? And that's what definitely needs to be removed out of our governing body
yeah.
here in the city of Niagara Falls. So that's that. Home ownership. I believe in that, and I want people to really start. I'm gonna always continuously be an advocate for home ownership. I
Valid.
think that's something that should definitely be on top of the list when it comes down, because and for young people, make it norm, make it a norm. Our city should make it as comfortable and a much of a norm as possible for young people to own homes in the city of
Absolutely.
Niagara Falls. Because if
Absolutely.
we do it that way, I promise you, we get more young people sticking around. Because listen, they don't see the possibilities, because our city doesn't make it possible.
Right.
Um, they have their buddies, the nepotism and friends and families, of people that they, pretty much allow the whole housing market to. And then we want to borrow again from the CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant funds,
Mm-hmm.
to take away services from people such as, like I said before, Habitat for Humanity. If we could start dumping a little bit more money into organizations like that, that's actually trying to rehab some of these homes,
Absolutely.
and then be able to sell them and be able to get them on the market, not just on the tax roll, but for people to own.
Oh, no, it was. And what's crazy is I had just looked up, Habitat for Humanity homes and just online application how to apply for one. Like,
Yeah,
because home ownership is necessary.
yeah, necessary,
It's
very
necessary.
relevant.
Yeah, and right now I know the market may not be its best or whatever the case may be, but it's something that we really need to engage in. And the earlier that you can get a mindset to start like that or think like that is great. somebody enjoying the call on the.
Okay. I don't know how that happened, but
Oh yeah, he's all right. Welcome to Fire 716. Listen, if you're listening online or even on the app, you can call in at 716-299-0013. That's 716-299-0013.
That was
All right.
that was funny. All right, so yeah, so I think that you're hitting the nail right on the head, um, and that's why I have this issue with the city even remotely thinking about giving away 10 properties for $50,000 to a developer to turn it into to turn them into Airbnbs. Um, that's $5,000 a home.
Right. That's crazy to me.
Homes that are nearly beyond repair are still worth more than $5,000. And supposedly he got over $1 million or some odd money to, rehab or whatever. I don't
Man.
want to hear that. At the end of the day, you're just giving away I'm not when I tell you, I'm gonna roar like a doggone lion when it comes down to this.
But my question is, and there's so much you can do with these properties that will aid to the community's development and advancement, and even before we even get to home ownership.
Right. Right.
Why not set these programs up with the carpentry program,
Right.
the electrician, the journeyman programs, and get our youth involved? Hey, here's the application fee. Sign up. We're going to give you some experience
Right.
if
Right.
you want to learn a trade,
Right.
and use those trade and apply it to these houses and homes.
Absolutely.
Tap into the Habitat for Humanity. Give experience how to paint, how to do
Right.
carpentry, how to do roofing. Trade and teach and evolve and great and come out with a beautiful home that somebody can purchase.
Absolutely. And watch this. Check this out. Even if it's on a city level, let's do this, right? Have it set up where we have a program. So whenever someone purchases that home,
Yeah,
let's say for the program that we have these young kids are being taught this carpentry and plumbing and piping and,
right.
and all of this good stuff. Let's take the money that we get from the house being purchased and put it towards those students that worked on that home to get a
Absolutely.
further education in what it is that they just and so now they have something that they had their hands a part of.
Absolutely.
One, so they can go to that house and say, "Yo, I helped
I helped
build
build
this
that.
house," and not only that, that house helped me get a further education.
Come on.
Like, yo, and let it come into a full circle.
Absolutely.
I'm like, let's think out of the box, Niagara Falls. Let's sweat equity. I see it. I'm definitely looking. Give me just a second. I'm gonna look at some of this.
Because it's required. It's really something that needs to happen on it's oh man.
Absolutely, man. And what has happened didn't happen overnight.
Right.
That's the thing about it. It didn't happen overnight, and it's not something that's gonna change.
Yeah.
You're right. Home ownership is the only way
Yo,
to save the city.
I feel I'm getting irate on the inside because if you sell these homes and you do the tuition thing and you do all this stuff, and you take these 10 homes in this area, why not continue this program? These has been fixed now. Let's build some new.
So
Let's create these empty spaces.
yeah,
And begin to create it, and it looks like something.
right.
It looks like, and we have ownership. Owners just when you live in a house that you own, you just treat it different
Because you're not looking. It's not because what happens is when you're renting, it's like, well, it's not my house anyway. That's
Yeah.
what And I'm not saying everyone,
Yeah, but-
because we all rented at some time.
Yeah.
I didn't own my house forever. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up with a mom who definitely didn't play no games when it came down to taking care of keeping that house together. We were Saturday morning with the gospel music playing with Murphy oil, soap, and pine salt mixture, wiping walls. I still remember that, but that's a good thing. With that being said, a lot of people don't take care of spaces because it's not theirs.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's not to say that that's the right attitude, but you will find more people being more willing to put in that work to make sure their yard is together.
Yeah.
Make sure that the street looks good. If it's papers and stuff on the ground, hey, I'm just gonna pick them up because guess what? It's mine. I see what's going on, Mimi. Repair sidewalks and lighting. That's
my God. Black Wall Street.
Yes. hey, listen, Mimi, we gonna have you on here. We got
No, for sure.
Hey, you got a message too, man. And at the end of the day, we want to just make sure that we all get all our voices out
for
here.
sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So
for sure.
and anyone, actually, let me put it this way. I think that's what I'm going to do as well. For those of you who are listening, I'm going to hit me up. You can possibly hit me up in my inbox and 716 too as well. And don't forget to download the app. I want to make sure I put that plug in Fire 716. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of have be able to set up scheduling. So in the event that if you want to be on the show or something that we want to talk about, I'm screening it first, so it ain't. I'm just letting everybody know.
Yeah.
I'm not just accepting anybody who get in my inbox and just putting you on the show. We got to make sure that what you're talking about kind of goes along with what the
Valid,
show
valid.
promotes and whatnot, especially when it comes down to community and making sure that we have our voices out here and make sure that we're able to be that hub for the community and
Absolutely.
for the voice of the community.
Absolutely.
Um, so with that being said, let me see here. Yeah, the private developers, it's really for their pockets. So yeah, we're all pretty much on the same page. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm definitely gonna, like I said, definitely gonna look at it's a lot of comments. So if I don't get you on the show, like talking about it right now, just call in. The number is right there. That's 716-299-0013,
Absolutely.
because it'll be easier for us to have that kind of conversation. Um, so so yeah, when it comes down to properties that are sold in the city of Niagara Falls, it's really silent.
Yeah.
It's really hard um, to find. RFPs are hidden. They don't really a request for proposal. That's basically what that means, and they they don't make it very public when it comes down to here. Let me make sure.
That sounds right, because, and the reason why I said that, because even in search for the building we have now here at the
Right.
studio,
Right,
just to search for it, in it wasn't as public.
right,
You got to walk by, you got to see, you got to call, you got to do. It's a lot of research required to find
Right.
out what's this building, who owns it, where it's at, who's the LLC in. Oh, is it available?
right.
And it's a lot of
You have to. They put you on a treasure hunt, and
Yeah.
then especially when it comes down to these houses that they're putting up for sale, you just find out that I've been to one was it a planning board meeting where they had pretty much sold 20 properties to one developer in one swoop.
Yep.
I'm like, where they do that at? I'm like, where? And that's why I tell the people. Now, please, I'm glad that y'all on here. That's beautiful. What's up, Doug? I see you, Marco. Um, I tell the people, come through City Hall, because we can get on Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Snapchat,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all Twitter, whatever it is. We can get on and talk about a whole lot of stuff, but that's not going to do nothing. That's not going to do nothing. I'll see it possibly,
Mhm.
but my colleagues aren't seeing that, and they ain't caring. They
Yeah.
don't care
Yeah.
about what you say on Facebook. But when we have to start making our presence as a community. I'm there, of course, because
Yeah.
it's my job, and I care, and not just because it's my job. Let me just really make that really publicly clear. I've been at City Hall since 2016.
My Lord.
Beating that podium.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I don't want people to think that, he's only there because it's his job and he got to. No, I've been there trying to advocate for community and for betterness and betterment of our community way before I even got elected or ran.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm saying, I need that same support. I need that same support because this stuff, silent housing auctions and silent house sales to developers or to people who are in the clique, those things need to be addressed. The only way they're going to be addressed, and I can't be the only one doing it.
No, valid.
I cannot
Valid.
be the only one uh, putting that effort forward. I know some people don't care too much to come into City Hall or whatever the case is. Here's the thing I'm going to tell you. If you don't care to do so, please don't complain.
No, valid.
Or don't complain to me. You can complain to whoever you want.
Right.
But don't call me about a lot of issues that you're dealing with if you're not willing to show up and address all
Right.
100% of us. I'm only 20%. I'm going to say that at probably every show. I'm only 20% of the decisions that's made in City Hall. So calling me the one city councilman out of 5, it no one can tell your story better than you. You feel what I'm saying? No
Yeah.
one can tell your story. No one can express your disdain or no one can express your concerns or your issues
Yeah.
better than you.
And you need to know what's going on.
Right.
You
Get the
need to be
knowledge.
aware of what's happening in your city, what's getting ready to affect you, your children, your children's children, your
Hmm.
mom, your dad, your parents, your cousins. You need to know what's coming down the line.
Right.
Be-
Quality of life.
And if you need to sometimes get it firsthand, secondhand, because sometimes your third party ain't
It's watered down.
watered down.
The message is watered down. And that's another thing. You so you can see who's misrepresenting you.
Yeah,
And I say miss because it's a lot of people in City Hall that's misrepresenting our constituents. But until you come and see it for yourself, you won't know.
you won't know.
And election year comes up and you end up voting the same type of thing. And that's why you wonder why Niagara Falls doesn't change. You wonder why we're still going through a lot of the same issues that we've been going through for like decades,
Decades.
40, 50 years, and nothing has changed. Um, the reason why is because we're ignorant to who's governing
Hmm.
over the city. And we're ignorant because we choose not to show up. Now,
Yeah.
I can promise you, like, I'm the same person, and you know,
Yeah.
and those
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
show up know, I'm the same person that was campaigning 2 years ago in 2021, and the same person that was campaigning in 2019 when I didn't quite make it across the finish line at that point. I'm the same guy,
Yeah.
and my principles are the same. My integrity is still intact. My morals are still the same. I'm
Yeah.
still fighting for what I said I was going to fight for. So you know that you have someone in office that's fighting for the
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
Um, with that being said, what I'm saying is the people in power should never outweigh the power of the people.
Absolutely.
So until the people begin to show up, and not just for issues that just affect you right now,
Right.
because that's what happens. Um, you get some people who, if it's contract time for police and fire and
Mhm.
all of them, then you get the police officers and fire and the family members and those who really rep them hard. They'll show up. Beautiful, show up
Mhm.
then, but keep showing up because what's on the next week agenda item after we vote on your contract is just as important as your contract.
Right.
Um, Same way with you know.
I want to stop right there. You need to know how the system works
Right.
because some of us are complaining, but you don't understand how the system works. You're not a part. You're not tapped in. So all it is a complaint on complaint on complaint,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not a part of the moving force that can readjust or turn something or make
Right.
something move. Like for example, I didn't know about public hearings
Right.
until I was really informed what this was and how this worked. Oh, this is how we know a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware. Well, the special meetings and that they were silencing our voices,
Right.
but being present in the room
Right.
puts pressure on each component of that 20% that's set up there. It puts
Absolutely.
pressure on you're not about to just get out here and just start taking from us and spending money and doing reckless stuff with it, and we sit and be okay.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna say what I got to
Say
say.
it. Say it, please.
Because don't run out here and try to go to another city
Right.
who has a full force. They're part of the government. They
Right.
move in Atlanta. They working
Right.
together,
Right.
and you want to move down there and reap the benefits of their labor. Put the work
Put
in
the
here.
work in here.
Put that work in. Put that energy. Yeah, you might feel alone. No, it's not a whole lot of people, but those that's there, we are better together. We got to put the work in.
You know what happens? I'm gonna tell you something. Especially, I'm glad you mentioned that because I talk about that kind of often a little bit. Uh, One thing that I say, especially when people move, and I have listen, this is no dig or stab at anyone who moves
Valid.
away or whatever.
Valid.
If you can create better for you and your family elsewhere, okay, I get it. Go ahead and do that.
Absolutely.
Here's what I've learned about when people move away. When people move away to places like Georgia, Florida, Carolinas,
Yeah.
possibly California, Texas, and stuff like that, people in many cases are much more engaged, right?
Mhm.
And you're forced to do a thing.
Yeah.
You go down there. Like I was in Atlanta. I was there for 3 months. I had moved there back in 2000. And one thing that I realized is that it took half hour just to go to the grocery store.
Mm.
So it's like me driving to Buffalo just to go get groceries, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And I did that. I had to do that. In my job, I worked for about a week or so at MCI WorldCom, and it took me about an hour and 15 minutes to get to work,
Wow.
just one way,
So,
right? I sat back and I thought about it. And some people go and they do that on a regular right now,
right.
right? Some people go down to different places, the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of people engaged in local politics. So then what happens? Oh man, I'm gonna get engaged because you're here. So my thing is this: if you were to put in the work that you would put in there
Yeah.
when you go to these places. So if you decide, okay, you know what, my job take me an hour and a half to get there, I'm going to go. So when I'm back at home, so say I move back to Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be against getting a job that's an hour away if it's going to pay me the
Mm-hmm. Right.
amount of money.
Yeah.
Because I did it when I was there. Same way, you go to these areas that are very proactive in local government. If you're willing to be active down there because you see a lot of people being active, then start creating that culture here.
Right.
People leave and they work 2 jobs to make it because you have to in certain areas. Yo, if you're willing to do that in another location,
Right.
imagine working 2 jobs here. You'll probably be a lot better off. So it's really about kind of like adjusting that culture.
For sure.
So that's one thing. So next week is going to be city council meeting,
Yes.
and so I'm encouraging everybody. Another thing, while we got people on here, let's share again. Let's share. You can share this right here because once you share this, they'll hear the message that I'm about to say. Please download the app.
Yes.
Download the app Fire 716. Share it, right? I'm definitely gonna go through. I know a lot of y'all must be. What's going on, Chris? I see you, sir. A lot of y'all must be nervous about calling in because. Oh yes, that's another thing. Let me talk about that real quick. I'm for it. I'm definitely for it. There's going to be on the agenda item, I believe, for us in this to adopt the a resolution that's already adopted in Buffalo for us to be able to legally have chickens in the city of Niagara Falls.
Mm.
Create a coop.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something. With eggs being $6 a dozen,
Valid.
in my household, how my kids eat eggs in my house, they say if you take good care of them chickens, they lay in abundance.
And they big.
And they right.
Yeah, okay, side note, on the jokes, because I was on the west side,
Uh-huh.
and I went to go deliver. I like to do Uber Eats. And I went to the spot, and these big chickens, and I got them joints. No,
Listen,
valid.
If you take care of them, they will lay you some good eggs, and they say enough to halfway feed your block.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, well, listen, I'm with it. I'm with it all day. What's going on, Trent, Colin? I see y'all. I'm with it. Edith, how you doing? I'm definitely with it.
Sure.
So that's going to be on the agenda item, the agenda next week, and I got to. Of course, everything just came up this week. Today, so go on the city website as well. You go on the city website, you can. It's I have it on.
And I'm gonna say this while he's looking that up because now my question is now take this idea on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to teach somebody how to tend to these chickens,
right?
How to build it, how to build the shed, how to manage it, how to maintain them. And I'm just saying, it's a good time for you to get you a little LLC,
right?
Be available and be like, hey, listen, we training y'all how to build a coop,
right?
We're coming out to how to maintain the chickens. This is how you do it. We're building a facility for you to have options to access the chicken. I'm talking good for somebody.
Listen, somebody needs to listen.
This ain't. That's not for me.
Listen,
but
again, you know, who knows?
Who knows? No, valid.
Who knows, bro?
Fiery chicken. Say
right.
But it's also these are two. Here we go, giving an opportunity that if we go through it and we get those yeses and it goes through, there's a need,
Right.
and where there's a need, there's an opportunity for success. And I'm talking to our culture. I'm talking to us around us. Listen,
What's up, Paul? See you, bro.
why not you?
Right.
Why
Right.
not us?
Right.
Why not?
And don't complain. You know what happens, Niagara Falls, with us? We become so bandwagonish
Mm-hmm.
where we like we'll sit and we'll choose not to do something, and then when someone else do it, then we mad at them, or it's like, oh man, well, I need to do it now. And then my dad always tell me it's easier to keep up than it is to catch up.
Yeah.
So let's become more innovators. Let's become more trendsetters in the city of Niagara Falls.
Absolutely.
Let's think out of the box, and let's support the things that actually that helps our city.
Yeah.
The website is niagarafallsusa.org. I have it like just on kind of speed. I just go right to it.
Mhm.
But and then you go push the 3 lines at the top right hand corner, scroll down to City Council, and you push that. Then you scroll down, and then it should have the agenda items for next week's meeting. Just want to put that out there so everybody know.
Yeah.
But with that being said, man, listen, I think the biggest thing is that being more present. I need people. I get this a lot because it's people who couldn't stand me when I was running, right? Could not stand me at all. However, I guess as time went on and when I got elected, some people was like, "Oh, I hope you don't flip." I'm like, "Well, you don't know me as a person anyway." So
Right.
I just had to keep moving. And they're like, man, and I have some people actually come back to me, after after I got elected, after watching me come in, and I'm still fighting for the people. What's going on, Noel? How you doing there? I haven't seen her in a while too. And yes, what's the scum name? This is just kind of going off. Nick D'Angelo, he definitely is a scum, and I don't understand why it's taking so long for this court, his hearing and his trial to take place. So that's me putting that on record. So just keeping that a buck. Okay, back to it. So yeah, we need presence. People tell me a lot, like, "Hey, I need you. Yo, we need you, man. We need you to stay in, and we need you to." And I'm like, listen, if you don't show up, if the people don't start to show up, don't wait till 2025 when my term is over to start showing up.
Yeah.
Because if you think that that's going to get me to run again, if I seen that the community has been inactive for 3 solid years,
Yeah.
when all I've done is ask people to show up, and you can come and speak on whatever you want to speak on.
Right.
Like City Hall has room for you.
No, for sure.
There is a place and a spot for you in City Hall. It's called For the Good of the Community. You can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. Period. Guess what? We still don't get the level of that level of. I need your support just as much as you need mine.
Right.
I think that's the part that I always want to put out there. Is that, again, the people in power should never outweigh the power of people. Come talk. There's 2 things. There's 2 sheets that you can fill out. There's the agenda item sheet and For the Good of the Community. If you fill out either one of them, so if something on the agenda that you may not agree or you might want to support, and you just want to kind of put more heat behind it, come fill that out. 2, good of the community. You can talk about whatever it is that you really need to talk about. Only thing that we ask is that we don't do any personal attacks on, because you're talking to the council.
Yeah.
So if you come up and you're like, yeah, but Dante, you don't do this and da, you're gonna get stopped. The gavel is gonna hit the thing, and then it's gonna be like, and you're gonna get sat down. Let me just keep it a buck. They don't sat down. The next city council meeting I see it's next week, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
And if you look on my page, and I have to kind of correct it a little bit as well. On my page, the city council meetings, uh, it's on my backdrop of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
yeah. So and you have it on.
Look, I couldn't get because it's on your backdrop.
Oh,
There is no link for it.
okay.
So,
I tell you what.
is it on the website?
It should be on the website, but I tell you what. I mean, here's you can just send them to the page, let them know.
No,
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I'll find out how we can work that out. But
Yes.
for the time being, if you go on my page, you're gonna find it on the backdrop of my page. So there's my profile picture, and then there's the other picture that's behind it. Hit that. You're gonna see on there at the top. I think it says 11 a.m. That was for just the first meeting. Every meeting, period, from here on out is at 6 o'clock. But if you want to speak at any given time, you have to come at least about I'll say 15, 20 minutes prior to,
Yeah.
so you can fill out the sheet. You know what I mean? And sign in. So once you sign in, I see everybody pouring in. It's good to see y'all. So yeah, but it's important. It's important, and I wasn't always in politics.
Yeah.
I got pissed off because I didn't like the treatment of or the lack of street plowing that took place. And so I went and I spoke on it. And then I looked on the agenda what council was voting on that night. And I'm like, what? This affects me. And so I chose to keep coming. And I became a normal. I became that guy. As soon as Dante, boom, opened the door, it's like, oh man, I cannot. I'm telling you, hold on, my mom. I'm on. I'll call her back. So it got to the point where I just became a regular, and I became the face that they got tired of seeing.
Mm.
I need everybody to be the face that we're tired of seeing. Be that, please hold me accountable. A lot of people they've been paying attention as of late, and like, okay, Dante, you know what, you're still standing up for the people, and you haven't changed any stripes. I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad you see that. Invite your watch this. Even these little babies, these kids.
Yeah.
Bring your kids, please, because this is something. If we teach them at an early age, and they can start understanding how government works, then it's like it'll be an amazing situation for them, because as they grow older, then they'll be more engaged. We want engagement from these kids. You know what I mean? So next week there'll definitely be a city council meeting. I'm looking forward to all of you guys being there. I'm looking for you guys to invite your people, invite your family. One more thing before I know, because I slide over time a little bit. I'm gonna tell you what I do, and it's kind of backwards right now, but I will post it. I actually work for National Income Life. I'm an agent. I'm actually a New York State life insurance agent. There are a lot of people who are passing away.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, he shows up now. Let me. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back into that, because that is because people are asking that, because he wasn't showing up all of last year. The mayor. He shows up now, but guess what? It's very convenient because it's what? Campaign.
Yeah.
He's showing up now. I had to check him a couple of times in the middle of our meeting, because he thinks like issues that are quality of life issues that we're talking about. He thinks it's a joke, and he'll start chuckling. And I had to ask him a couple of times, "What do you think's so funny? What's funny?" But he shows up now because it's campaign season. But what he doesn't know is that I'm all about the sunshine.
Yeah.
I'm putting light on everything. So I work for National Income Life. Not really even about the company right now. What it is about is a lot of people who are passing away who don't have life insurance, and their families are left with a heavy burden. I've been posting it on my on my page. If you guys can share the word, spread the word out, and it's not about like just getting Dante, referrals or whatever the case is, but just really getting people covered because I don't know how many GoFundMe
Right.
pages are coming up on Facebook because people don't have insurance. And honestly, it's not our job as a community to pay for someone's last final expenses. Um, it's better to be more proactive than reactive.
Mm-hmm.
Young people, get life insurance. It's the cheapest. The younger you are, the younger and the healthier you are, the cheaper your life insurance will be. You get it at an early age. By the time you're 50, 60, 70, 80, you're still paying $30 for 40 or $50,000 worth of life insurance. Get let so for those of you who are older, try to get it if you can, if you don't have a lot of health issues, because you have to it's something you have to qualify for anyway.
Yeah.
But if you can't, you know what I mean, or if you possibly may have to get term, if that's even offered, depending on your health situation, get these kids squared away at an early age so they're not worrying about this stuff when they get older. And God forbid, and the true story is death does not have a age limit on it. It's been very young, a lot of young people have been passing away.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's that plug. But let's make sure that and it's my number. It's my personal number. So and my number is not private. 716-236-5688. Um, but yeah, or and you can have them inbox me or whatever the case is, and I'll do whatever I can on my end to try to get them the best rate as possible. But it's mainly about getting. We don't oversell. We don't upsell anybody because our thing is a whole life policy is to be maintained for your whole entire life. So you're gonna have to be able to pay it. So we're not trying to upsell anyone. So that's just kind of like my little plug that I put in. So with this minute that we got left, um, I would like to thank everyone uh, for joining us today. Um, continue to post your questions. I will be going through once I get time to really sit down. I will be going through. Share this video, please,
Yeah.
please. All it takes is for you to push share, and then share. You push a share, and then you post it or whatever the case is. Please do that. What's up, Kim? How you doing, love? Please push the share button because we have great content on the show on the Vault, Big Frank in the morning,
Mhm.
our other shows that Kiera and the crew when they're here. Go to Fire 716 so you can see exactly what's going on. This is good content, and a lot of times they be having me cracking. Y'all had me rolling in the morning. Y'all nuts. But yeah, with that being said, let's make sure that we do what we can to try to help make our city just that much better.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other, one step in front of the other. And so this is your boy Dante, aka D Belly, aka your councilman Dante Miles. Looking forward to catching up with y'all next week. Uh, every Thursday at 11. Remember that. Put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
Put it on your phone. Put it on your put it go to your I need y'all to go right now once y'all get off of here. And on Thursdays at 11 o'clock, I want you to set an alarm and put the Vault with Dante Miles. And so you'll know. All right. All right. So I appreciate that. See y'all next week. Peace and love.
Unfortunately, African Americans are 30% more likely to die from heart disease than non Hispanic whites, according to the U.S. Department of Health Services. My name is Fatima Matthews, and I am a congestive heart failure patient. I am taking my life changing experience of having died on the table and being revived to help educate others on the topic of heart health. And I am inviting you to attend my luncheon on February 18th at 11 a.m. at the Underground Railroad Heritage Center right here in Niagara Falls, New York. I will be speaking, and I will be joined by Dr. Ephraim Chaudhry of Trinity Health Group, Dr. Jeffrey Alexis from the University of Rochester Strawn Memorial Hospital, and Dr. Mike a diversity, equity, and inclusion specialist at Independent Health. I am looking forward to seeing you at the luncheon on February 18th at 11 a.m. at the Underground Railroad Museum located at 825 Depot Avenue in Niagara Falls, New York. Tickets can be purchased at Eventbrite. Search Annual Strong Heart to Soul Luncheon. I can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, bro. When I said 10 properties